Hi, Stars. Let's talk about leadership. I see tons of great leadership at Coates. I see it when big kids are helping little kids and they're not even asked to do it. I see it in your classrooms when a kid steps up and organizes his or her friends or classmates to get a job done. I see it when we help other people out who are in need. That's leadership. And I know you've been studying it this week. Stars, the world needs leadership, and it needs leadership from people just like you. Why you? Because you are a person who has empathy. You're a person who likes to be kind. You are a person who cares about fairness. We've talked a lot about racism and bias and all these things that so many Americans and people across the world deal with unfairly. And we strive to be anti that, to be against it. So because we're working on ourselves to be really good people, who should be the leader when tough things happen? The people who are good people, you. So there will be times in life where it's okay to just worry about yourself and your own good behavior and your own good choices. And there will be other times where the situation calls for a leader who's going to stand up, call out something unfair, stick up for something, organize people to do the right thing. We need the good people to be leaders, and that's you. Stars, most people you meet in the world are awesome, and we want to give everybody a chance. But there are some terrible things that happen out there. I talked to you last time about racism and social injustice. I hope you remember that conversation. That's not the end of it, though. Your parents watch or read the news every week, and there's a lot of stories about bad things that happen out there. There's been a lot of stories, for example, in the last many months of Asian American people getting attacked by racist people who just want to go after them and target them because of their race. There's news stories like this far too often. It's ridiculous, it's racist, and it gets us angry and scared. So unfair. I hate that that kind of stuff happens, plus the things I talked to you about last week. And there's even more. I could go on and on. We've got to make sure that we retain all the goodness around us and we are representing a good side of humanity, but we also want to make sure we do our part to make that goodness spread. And here's how you do that. Here are some things we all can do to make the world a better place, make ourselves better, and be a leader who helps others get better as well. Number one, share your story. If you have been the victim of bias or racism, you've been treated in an unfair, unkind way because of who you are, sometimes it is helpful to tell your story. It might help you process it and feel a little bit better and supported. It can also help other people around you, your friends, and even people who aren't your friends but just know you. It might help them get a better understanding of what other people go through and have to deal with. That can make people have a better perspective and turn them into kinder people. So share your story. Another thing you can do is listen. If someone's sharing their story, have an open mind. Let them talk. Think about what they must have dealt with when they're dealing with what they're dealing with. Through listening and being a caring person, we can learn a lot about people and maybe become a better friend or partner for them. Another thing we've got to do is we've got to stand up to bias and racism when it happens right in front of us. Sometimes it's pretty obvious. Someone comes around and they're saying racist words, or they're picking on someone or bullying them because of the color of their skin or because of something else about them. We see that. Sometimes we got to stand up. We got to say something. We've got to take their back. Sometimes it's not so obvious and we're unsure of what to do. If you're in doubt, if you think for a minute that something might be unfair or biased or racist, stand up and say something. For example, let's say you're with a group of friends and someone wants to make a joke that is really insulting to Black people, to Latinos, to Asian people, to any race. You have a choice. You can laugh at that joke, or you can decline to do that and tell someone that's not cool. That includes times you're roasting with a friend and you're having fun. If someone crosses the line into something racist, sometimes we can shut that down and get them to change your thinking. Someone's going to get their feelings hurt because they should get their feelings hurt if someone's teasing them about their race. So be on the lookout for when that kind of stuff happens. Say something so that people know that's not cool. And here's the final strategy for today. Let's get really good at thinking about what's going on in our own heads before we say something that could end up being hurtful or could end up being negative to someone else. Sometimes all of us can have a bias that's kind of like buried in our brain, something we may have learned from someone else in the course of growing up that ends up being a way of thinking about a different person that's not fair to them. Sometimes we might think someone's from a certain neighborhood, maybe they're a bad person. We think someone looks a certain way, they must behave this way. Someone's in a certain religion, they probably are like this, and that's not like me. There's way more things in the world that connect all of us and we have in common than there are things that separate us. Sometimes if we say or do things that add to separating people, we are not helping. We're just making other people feel bad. So you're a good person, but we might be capable of having something come out of us that is hurtful and that does have a bias to it. Watch yourself. Think about what you say. Always think about what someone else might be going through or what their life experience has been. Be someone who unites people, not someone who divides them, teases, hurts. That's leadership. And that's something we're going to work on all the time, not just this week. All right, stars, doing a great job. Remember what I said? Great leadership and great work being someone who's going to stand up for what's right.